Welcome, everybody. My name is Brittany. I am the program coordinator for Detroit Bird Alliance. We're really happy to have Matthew here today joining us from Cat Topia. So feel free to put any questions you have in the chat throughout the webinar, and we'll answer them at the end. So welcome, Matthew.
Hey guys, my name is Matthew, and I work at a catio company called Cat Topia. We build custom catios nationwide, and yeah, I'm excited to be here. So thank you, Brittany, for hosting me here. And I'm going to be talking about the conservation power of catios. You know, how people can let their cats safely outside without affecting the birds.
Yeah, and why don't you let us know where you're joining us from?
Yeah, so we're actually located in Denver, Colorado. We started this company back in 2018 here in Denver, Colorado, and then we started building catios nationwide in beginning of 2021. So yeah, so jumping right in. So this is kind of just an overview of what we'll be discussing. So we'll be talking about the rise of cat ownership across America, the impact of free roaming cats on birds, why it's essential to protect your local bird populations. What is a catio for those people who still don't know what a catio is? I was one of those people, and I've had a cat for 3 years, and I just learned what a catio was when I first started here. So there's still a lot of people, who don't know what a catio is, but we'll also be discussing the benefits of a catio for our feline friends, how it provides mental health, physical health benefits, and then we're also going to be discussing how a catio can contribute to local bird conservation. And then lastly, how to get a catio for yourself. We're going to discuss, when it comes to hiring professionals like us, but also, how to build one yourself. Cause we understand that, not everyone can afford a custom built catio, but we're just huge believers of catios in general. So we want to use our knowledge on that. So jumping right into the rise of cat ownership. So this has been an ongoing thing, and it kind of started after COVID. COVID kind of really, we saw a spike right after COVID. I mean, especially with dogs and cats, not just cats, but in 2023, there was around a 6 million shelter cats, or 6 million shelter cats were adopted, which marked a 14% increase since 2019. And like I said, that COVID-19 just kind of caused that spike. Everyone's staying indoors, people are getting pets, and what's the easiest pet to get is, usually a cat. Now, with the growth of cats comes the importance of education and practicing responsible pet ownership. There is a lot of people who still have indoor outdoor cats, and a lot of those people just don't realize the effects that cats have on local bird populations, local rodent populations, and how that can just affect the whole entire local ecosystem. So we're huge believers of, when it comes to cats and just practicing safe, responsible pet ownership. And, if you want to let your cat outdoors, there's other ways, such as a catio or leashed walks or something like that. So yeah, with the rise of cat ownership here in America, we want to make sure that it's super important that people understand the dangers of letting your cats outdoors, not only for just them as well, but for the local environment. So I'm sure probably, a lot of you are already familiar with this, but for those of you who aren't, I was one of those people when I first started working at Catopia a little bit around 8 months ago. I had no idea the amount of birds that cats kill. Now, to be fair, around 69% of the birds that get killed by cats come from feral stray cats. However, that's still, a huge population left over, 31% that are domesticated cats that still kill millions of birds per year. And now, according to American Bird Conservancy, um, within the US alone, cats are estimated to kill 2.4 billion birds per year, which is just an incredible number. That's just, so high up there. And cats have also contributed to the extinction of 63 bird species worldwide. And that's, also a pretty astonishing fact. And now, like I mentioned earlier, with this decline of bird population, it disrupts local ecosystems, which can lead to an overpopulation of pests, overpopulation of rodents, reduce plant growth. So the impact of the impact of cats on birds is significant. And like I mentioned, although 69% of it comes from feral stray cats, getting a catio can kind of impact that other 31% of domesticated free roaming cats and kind of keep those cats indoors. And now this is another slide that, most of you guys are probably familiar with, but why is it essential to protect bird populations? As you guys are aware of, birds are not just beautiful creatures to look at, but they're huge components of our local ecosystems. And, they're super helpful for maintaining pest control. They also help with seed dispersal. Birds spread plant seeds across the country and, kind of just help with the plant growth. They also help with pollination. They're also good scavengers. They pick up the dead stuff that some other animals will not pick up. They help with nutrient cycling, and they also help biodiversity. So, this is a huge thing that a lot of people may not understand, that, like I said, birds are not just beautiful creatures to look at, but they play a huge pivotal role within our ecosystem, and which makes it even more important on why we need to protect birds from cats. And cats are these non-native predators that we're kind of bringing in to the ecosystem and kind of letting them just go about and, pretty much kill everything in sight, which is very unfortunate. So now we're getting into, what is a catio? Like I said, there's still a lot of people who may not be familiar with what a catio is. Like I said, I've had a cat for almost 3 years now, and I had no idea what a catio was until I started working here at Cat Topia. But for those who do know, you're probably familiar already with this. But for those who don't know, a catio, there's other terms short, like cat patio, cat home, enclosed cat house. All those are essentially just a catio, but it's a secure enclosed outdoor space specifically designed with, ramps, shelving. You can add hammocks, you can add little tree branches in there for the cat to run around, but it's specifically designed to allow your indoor cat to experience the outdoors safely and while protecting your local ecosystem. Um, and as well, it also help, like I mentioned, it protects the cat from experiencing those outdoor dangers because, I feel like I've been so focused on talking about cats disrupting the local ecosystems, but if you're a cat lover yourself, you understand the risk and dangers that cats are faced with outdoors as well. And so this catio, catios are designed specifically to provide protection from predators that may want to harm your cat. Also dangers like traffic when, a cat's free roaming, keep them enclosed like this where they will never run into a traffic or toxic plants. So there's just so many stuff outdoors that can also harm your cat. So a catio is a perfect solution for wanting to keep an indoor only cat, but also allowing them to experience the endless stimulation the outdoors has to offer. Now, like I mentioned, these catios are specifically designed for cats, and there's a lot of benefits that a catio provides for our furry friends. Um, Not only are they an extension of your home, but catios offer, numerous health benefits, including physical health benefits such as exposure to fresh air. Access to fresh air in a catio can improve respiratory health. It also just makes the cat feel more at ease and, reduces their stress levels. Now, being built specifically for cats allows, us to add shelves and ramps and whatnot. That helps with increased exercise, provides them a safe space to jump around, run around, and it just encourages them to get more active. Cats that are specifically indoors only, especially indoor only cats, kind of lack that enrichment a lot of times, and really don't have anywhere in the house that has vertical spaces for them to climb. And cats, just by nature love to experience the vertical nature and love to run around. So by introducing a space like this, it increases their exercise. It also helps with their muscle growth and their joints by running around, jumping around. Regular movement helps, the muscle growth and the joint health. So that's just a few things of the physical health benefits. I could go on for days about the physical health benefits it provides for cats, but I kind of want to, mention a lot of the mental health aspects. A lot of people, when it comes to pet health, they kind of only see the physical aspect and kind of forget about the mental health aspect. But I think now, as we're growing, as a society, we're starting to pay more attention to not only dog health, their physical health, dog and cat health, their physical health, but now their mental health. And something like a Catio really helps reduce their stress and anxiety by being out there, seeing those endless sights and smells and getting that fresh air. It kind of just lets them be at ease. Um, and that endless stimulation, being able to watch a bird fly by, being able to watch an insect fly by, kind of reduces that boredom, and also reduces their stress and anxiety, and just always keeps them engaged. And the saying, the curiosity killed the cat. It's true that cats are just curious by nature, and by allowing them to be outdoors, it just allows them, it satisfies that curious nature and allows them to just explore that they may not be able to do indoors. So continuing on to the benefits of a catio, going over more in detail into the safety and protection. Like I mentioned earlier, it protects our cats from the predators. Without a catio, just letting your cat indoor, outdoor, they're being exposed to so many predators out there. There's not only do cats, harm birds, but there are some bird species that will attack, cats, like hawks and owls and whatnot. So keeping them indoors in a catio just helps out so much with that. And also, dogs, there's a lot of people who allow their dogs off leash, and letting your cat outdoors, they may run into one of those. So it provides protection from predators. It also provides safety and protection from stray and feral cats. And another thing that a lot of people may not take in consideration is when you have an indoor outdoor cat that may not be spay or neutered, kind of interacting with these stray and feral cats kind of grows that population. And like I mentioned earlier, the main threat to bird species across America are the feral stray cats. So keeping your domesticated cat and getting them spay and neutered, especially, that's super important. But if they're not spay or neutered and they're out there interacting with feral stray cats, that can increase that population over there. But also for just your domesticated cat, feral and stray cats have a lot of diseases that they carry, like FIV. That's an easily spreaded disease amongst cats. And for you, for those cat lovers out there, exactly how dangerous FIV is and how contagious it can be. So, there's also risk of getting in contact with a cat with ticks or fleas outside. So by allowing them to go into a catio, kind of reduces all of that risk and kind of keeps them just contained, and also provides protection from weather. When a cat is out there free roaming, they can get in contact, or be out there when there's a huge storm. So you never have to worry about that ever again when you get a catio. So now we're getting into how can a catio contribute to local bird conservation. The main reason why I'm here with Detroit Bird Alliance is they kind of tell you guys how a catio can be a perfect solution for those people who used to have indoor outdoor cats. And now a lot of our clients, I would say a lot of our clients used to have indoor outdoor cats. And so now we're bringing those cats back in. So that's how a catio can contribute to local bird conservation. It promotes awareness. Installing a catio often sparks conversation about bird conservation, encouraging others to consider getting a catio built. There's a lot of people, like I said, who just don't know what a catio is. So if you see, your neighbor building something, you're going to strike conversation, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Keeping the cats indoors, I can see how that bird, helps with bird conservation. But also the main factor, it doesn't allow them to hunt birds when they're inside a catio. Now, there are a bunch of catios on the market that allow different types of screening. We build with screening that doesn't allow birds to come into the catio, because birds may not be the brightest out of the animals, And when it comes to harsh weather, sometimes those catios that have big enough holes within the screening, birds can get into that catio and unfortunately, basically go into a predator's den. So our catios here at Catopia, we really like to focus on building with screening where, it keeps out the insects and it also keeps out the birds during big storms. So it doesn't, so birds don't allow or cannot go into the catio. So it prevents that predation. Now, it reduces competition for food as well. A free roaming cat is also going after those rodents, also killing those insects. Sorry. But it's also killing, that's like, main food source for the birds out there. So it's not only harming the birds, but even if a cat may not, kill a bird that day, but it kills a rodent, kills insects, it's still affecting the food and making the competition much higher for the birds. Um, and it also just encourages urban bird populations. One of the things that you guys are probably familiar with as well is as we grow as a society, we're kind of taking over that land that used to be native to birds and kind of turning it into a suburban neighborhood. And by getting a catio and not allowing your cat to explore the suburban neighborhoods, it kind of brings back those native bird populations and encourages the urban bird populations as well. And so I made this we made this little infographic. Now this is just all estimate numbers, but this is all based off research with Alley Cat Allies and Live Science. Feel free, I can share those sources with you guys as well. But this is just an estimate of numbers of how many birds a domesticated house cat can kill. And on average, they can kill around 11 birds per year. Now, the average household across America owns around two cats. It was like 2.4, so I rounded down. But the average American household owns two cats. And by building 100 catios per month, that can save an estimated 26,400 birds per year, which is incredible. By just installing 100 catios, it can save an estimated 26,000. Of course, these are all projected numbers. These numbers could be higher, these numbers could be lower, just all depending on the cat itself, of course, and the area that they're located. Now, when it comes to building a catio yourself, there's so many options out there. There's options to build it yourself. There's so many resources and other businesses that sell construction documents that allow those people who want to build it themselves. It's just the internet has made it so much easier. But there's also people like us, when it comes to, maybe you don't have the time, maybe you want a professional to design it for you. But I want to go over the pros and cons of both. So that way you guys can kind of get an understanding of what may be the best solution for you. So jumping into, do it yourself, building your own catio, the pros, it's cheaper, you can save a lot more money and, you're not spending money on labor. And then you can customize it to whatever you want. You have full control over the design, the materials that you want to use. So it just allows you to kind of do, take a creative approach to your catio. Now, at the same time, though, one of the things that being part of a company that builds professional catios, some things that people may not take in consideration when it comes time to building a catio yourself, when it comes to that customization. Like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to screening, sometimes people use like chicken coop screening, and sometimes there's holes within that screening that's kind of like these square holes that are big enough for small birds to get in. And during storms and bad weather, birds will go in for shelter. And that's something that we do not want to do. So make sure you keep that in mind. If you really want to protect your local bird populations, make sure you're building with. We use different types of screening. We sometimes do double screening as well, but the most common is this PVC coated wire mesh that is basically just tiny little squares. Basically, I think they're like half an inch by half an inch, so not even the smallest bird could get into that. Another thing, jumping into the cons when it comes to building a catio yourself. As you could, as you're probably aware of, this is pretty time consuming. It requires planning, where you want to put the catio. You got to map out the space. Maybe you may not have the tools specifically for the catio, and you got to either rent the tools for a specific time or buy tools that you may only use one time. So there's a lot to take in consideration with the cons as well. And the biggest one is that time consuming aspect of it. And then also, risk of errors when it comes to building a catio. There's a lot of stuff, like I mentioned, you just got to keep in mind. Another a huge thing that people may not have in mind when it comes time to building is predator protection. A lot of people may assume that, building a catio on in your backyard on grass may be fine without a solid foundation. Now, we encourage putting a solid foundation underneath the catio for several reasons. The main and biggest reason is for predator protection. If the ground is grass and that's the only barrier between that and a catio, a hungry predator such as a coyote can dig a small enough hole underneath, a small enough gap underneath that catio and force its way into the catio. And we've had that happen, or we've heard stories of that. And that's why people sometimes come to us. And when it comes to your cat's health and safety, we don't want anyone to learn the hard way. We want people to be educated when it comes time to building their own catio, that there is risk of errors if you want to build it build it yourself. There's risk that your cat might escape. So definitely, do more research if you want to build it yourself, just to make sure that you're eliminating all the risk associated when it comes time to building it yourself. So that way you can have the safest catio possible, that protects not only the local bird population, but protects your cat from local predators out there. Now, when it comes time to hiring a professional, that's where our company Cat Topia comes in. When hiring a professional, obviously you get, expert design and construction. Here at Cat Topia, we do all the design work. We can do pretty much anything that, you put your mind to, the whole customization. So you still have full control of customization, but you also don't have to worry about, predator protection. You're kind of leaving that to the professional. You don't have to worry about risk of errors. And also when it comes time to, hiring a company like us, a lot of people may not have the time to build a catio themselves and may just want someone to just build it for them. And you're also just getting that guaranteed quality. We want to make sure that we have the experienced builders that are going to reduce that risk of mistakes. And, it kind of gives you that peace of mind knowing that this catio that you got built is going to last for a while, and you don't have to worry about, your cat being in the catio when you're not there. Kind of just gives you that peace of mind. Now, the cons, of course, I'm not going to just sugarcoat it. When it comes time to hiring a professional, there is higher costs associated, of course, especially with customized catios. But we're huge believers of, something's better than nothing, especially when it comes to your cat and their safety and their health. And, we understand a lot of people may not have enough money to get a customized catio. And so that's why, we would also love to kind of help educate people on building their own. And, we can also just do designs. And if you want to build it yourself, but, yeah, that's, I would say the biggest con about hiring a company like us is, of course, the higher costs involved. Now, this is, if you guys liked what you heard, hopefully I didn't go too fast here, but this is just a little bit about us here at Cat Topia specifically. Like I mentioned, we specialize in creating personalized, customized catios that are safe, beautiful. For example, he wanted red accents on his catio, and this one's actually in San Francisco, but there's really no limit to what you can do. We had a customer who wanted to match her shed out there in the same color as her home. So, we can match the colors of your homes. But we can build, one thing that we live by here at Catopia, anyone can get a catio in their backyard, but we want to build a beautiful structure that blends, just well with your home. And it doesn't look like just any other catio or chicken coop out there, but something that, your neighbors will see and be like, wow, that's, that it flows well with their home. But so, going to the customized designs, we tailor to your space, whatever your needs are. And of course, we use durable and pet safe materials. That's another thing I forgot to mention when it comes to building it yourself and, doing it yourself. There's a lot of stains out there that people may use to stain the wood that they may not know is toxic for their cats. So definitely, watch out for that. And there's also paints out there that could be toxic and harmful for cats if they end up chewing on the wood or scratching on the wood. So, but yeah, that's a little bit about, what we do at Catopia, all customized catios, expert installation. And, we do free quotes. So if you are interested and you just want to learn how much a catio would cost for your space, don't hesitate to reach out. We offer free quotes and we would love to, just talk about your needs and what you're looking for your cat. But yeah, that's a little bit about us at Catopia and how catios can provide for, the local bird conservation and how it really helps protect from those domesticated cats who used to be indoor outdoor cats. Now they're strictly indoor, but they're still getting the outdoor benefits and the protection. And yeah, thank you guys, so much for listening to me talk. And hopefully I didn't go too fast here, but yeah, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Yeah, thanks, Matthew. So, we had just starting up from the top with the chat. So we had someone that said, "Good evening from Toronto." So just to let you know, we do have someone joining us from outside of the US. So that's always wonderful to hear. We do have someone that was curious about your sources and some of the numbers that you reference when it comes to the cats and their kill rates and what that looks like. And so we had one of our attendees asking if you could elaborate a little bit more about those numbers and sources.
Yeah, yeah. So I have the sources here. I'll pull up that as well. ABC Birds, I got a lot of my information from there as well. But now these sources is from ABC Bird and Catster. But I know I showed that other infographic. This one was from Alley Cat Allies, just kind of talking about, the average number of birds that a domesticated cat can kill. Now, if you look online, the numbers are kind of scattered everywhere. There's really no set, you don't really have an estimate because, there's some cats, each cat is different. Some cats are just more natural born hunters that could kill, if let outdoors, 100 birds, a month or even 200 birds within 3 months. So it's just all dependent. Now these numbers, I kind of took the average of what the information I was finding. And so I took, the median of those numbers. And from what I got with the domesticated, how many birds they can kill per year, it kind of averaged out to that 11 birds per year. Now, like I said, that could vary quite significantly. And also, when it comes to the amount of birds that die each year within the US from cats alone, that's another number that if you do research on ABC and other bird conservation and other, Audubon, Bird Alliance societies, they kind of range that number from 2.4 billion to 4.4 something billion. So, there's a huge 2 billion gap in between. So it's so hard to get the exact numbers on how many birds are killed by cats, but these are just numbers that I kind of found through these sources and kind of, gathered my own median number for that.
Thank you. Yeah. Another question we have is a local building permit necessary?
So it all depends on what you're looking for. What we specialize in is freestanding catios here at Catopia, and a freestanding catio doesn't do any drilling into your home. So A, it doesn't ruin your home value, and B, if you want to move, you can take it. But the key thing to a freestanding catio is a lot of the times, local places, local governments and whatnot will want a permit once you add a permanent structure to your home. But the fact that it's a freestanding, it kind of is a loophole within those permits. So now if you want to, get an enclosed patio catio, then that's when you might need to, run into some permitting. We have done that in the past where we have run into those permitting issues that we do take care of. But because they're the freestanding, it's kind of a loophole around that where it's basically like getting a shed in your backyard where you don't really need those permits. But of course, every local city government varies. So it's just all dependent on where you are and where you're located.
Thank you. Any other questions? And just so you know, Paula said thank you for elaborating. So, but yeah, otherwise, I know for me myself, I mean, just like you said, you have a cat at home. I have two cats, and I know one of my cats, I'll be open, is one of my cats is terrified of outside. But my other cat, we found outside, and he would definitely be a little predator if we let him be. But
Hmm.
the only way he's allowed outside is if he's on a leash, following with us. And so, but I totally understand. I mean, we have just to keep him mentally stimulated, we have these shelves on our walls that lead up to this space, this empty space above a closet that he climbs up to get to with the cat bed. So we're lucky to have that. Or when he's out on a leash, we have an extended version, and he'll run from one side of the yard to the other, and he'll jump up a tree and he'll climb up and cling to the side of the tree with his front claws for probably about a minute before he drops back down to the ground. And he's climbed up like 7 feet in the air. So definitely that mental and physical stimulation is so important, especially if you
Hmm.
have a more rambunctious cat. Versus my other cat, she she's scared of everything, and so that isn't as necessary for her, but she loves sitting by the window and listening and looking. And so, depending on your cats, that higher level of stimulation might be incredibly necessary.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, it's always impressive, how agile cats are when they're outside and how fast they are when it comes to, climbing trees. Like it's just it's just incredible. You'll see them on the ground 1 second and then they're up in the tree the next second. But, when it comes to indoor only, especially indoor only cats, this isn't a problem with bird conservation, of course, if they're kept inside 100%, they don't have to you don't have to worry about them hunting birds. But for those cat lovers, it's super important for bringing extra enrichment, especially for the indoor only cats, because unlike their outdoor counterparts or unlike dogs that get a little taste of the outdoors, cats are kind of just left to just stare out the window. And so it's super important. I mean, like, for example, I had a call with this lady. She works at Pet Alliance in Orlando, Florida, and we were talking about how when she used to have cats when she was younger, back in the days, that there were no really cat toys, or there was no cat trees, there was no that stimulation for indoor cats, and it was kind of just you got a cat and they sleep all day, and that was the norm. And nowadays, it's awesome that there's companies like us that exist that are highlighting the extra enrichment that cats truly need to survive, and not only just survive but thrive within their household. So they're not just waking up, eating, drinking, and sleeping all day, but now they're allowed to actually have fun and enjoy their life.
definitely. So we do have a couple more questions. So Lori says, "What kind of screening do you use?" You mentioned it earlier. Do
Yeah.
you mind answering that again?
Yeah. So we offer different types of screening here at Catopia. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what it's exactly called. I don't do I don't know too much about construction or how, but I do know the stuff that we typically use, the most used stuff. It's PVC coated mesh wiring. And it's like little squares, and it's coated with that plastic. So if cats, chew, or they can't really get through it as easy, and it makes it way more difficult. But it's also built to where it's like half an inch, so that way it kind of keeps out the big predators, like like snakes, reptiles, and whatnot. But especially it keeps out the birds as well. But yeah, we offer different types of screening. And sorry to not answer the question the best to my ability, but I know the PVC coated mesh wiring is like our typical one that we use.
Yeah. And to kind of elaborate on that a little bit more, I'll bring up something that we oftentimes talk about is the size of, like, if you incorporate material on your windows to reduce window collisions. The rule of thumb is always no bigger than a 2 by 2 inch square of no materials on the windows. And so what you want to do is kind of go even smaller than that, because that's if they're flying through it. That um obviously if they can fly through a 2 by 2 inch, they can definitely crawl through it.
Hmm.
So I would definitely agree that at least half inch of space between the barring or the spacing would probably be wonderful, because a lot of bird holes, you can look up wren house holes, you can look up bluebird house holes, and looking at all of those different sizes could really impact how much smaller it needs to be to ensure that they aren't flying into it or going into.
Hmm.
Uh, Another question is, will the slides be available to participants? So we'll be recording the webinar, so everyone can feel free to watch it again later. But if you are interested, you are always welcome to reach out to Matthew directly, and I'm sure he'd be happy to share slides, infographic sheets, any kind of information that might relate to Catios.
Yeah, yeah, I'd be happy to if anyone would like that.
Wonderful. And then another question is, these look amazing. Is there a minimum size for the Catios you all build?
So there isn't a minimum size. Now there is a minimum price point. However, here in Colorado, the minimum price point, obviously, since being local, it's a little easier for us. It's 3,000, and then out of state is minimum price point of 6,000. But we have done builds um, at a little lower price. So it's just all dependent on, just each scenario is different. Like we had a customer that wanted a little tiny one, but it required drilling into her home and, kind of cutting out and not making sure that, we cut into any wiring or anything. So, just all dependent, like a small little window box we could do. But when it comes to more elaborate procedures like that, that's where the minimum is a little higher, just to cover, just in case there's some damages or, something like that.
Thank you. Yeah. Any, then someone asks, can you provide contact info for Catopia? So Matthew, if you could type in the comment section
Yeah.
that contact info, but also say it so that way later on, whenever we have the recorded version, people can write it down if need be.
Yeah, I'd love to. Here, let me pull that up. So it's our website is thecatopia.com, and there's two T's in between cat and topia. So it's two separate words. So the and then cat and then separate word topia. And if you combine that all in thecatopia.com, we also have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have YouTube, TikTok. It's all going to be underneath the same handle, but I'll type it in as well. Here, I'll just copy and paste our website URL for the people in the chat. And yeah, like I mentioned, we do free quotes. So feel free to, submit, an inquiry, your phone number, and, we'd be happy to reach out. One of our guys would be happy to reach out and kind of just, see what you're looking for. And yeah, free quote. So, you don't have to pay to just talk about what you're wanting to look for, and we'd be happy to give you a price and whatnot.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. At the moment, I'm not seeing any, but again, for anyone, that's thecatopia.com. Um, you can reach out to, you can go to, is there a section on your website where it's staff or like a main contact email that they can reach out to?
We have, so I think we have some on our About Us. For my contact information, though, I can put it in the chat and say it as well. If anyone, just wants to reach out to me specifically, I'd be happy to help. But we do have like a contact us, and it's just a form. And we have a phone number as well for you to reach out to that goes straight to one of our guys that handles that. But yeah, I'd say we don't really have anything else besides those two. But my contact information, my email is matthew@thecatopia.com. So if anyone wants to reach out that way as well with any questions, I'd be happy to help. I'm also just going to type it into the chat as well for anyone else. But yeah, it's Matthew, my first name, so MATTHEW at thecatopia.com. Again, there's two T's in between cat and topia. It's two separate words. But yeah, that's, I'd say, the only way, I guess, to contact us at the moment.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And thank you for your time, Matthew. And again, if anyone has questions, feel free to reach out to either Matthew directly, or you can reach out to me and I can relay you to Matthew, or anyone from that is relation to Catopia. But we hope that this answers any questions you might have that help both birds and cats, because we care about both, and ensuring the survival and health and wellness of both our cats, our cat friends, and our wild bird friends nearby. And so, for the betterment of both, we hope this helps, and feel free to reach out at any time. But otherwise, have a wonderful night, everybody, and we hope to see you at our next webinar.